Alright, my homies, alright. So, we're gonna be starting off, like, the stream with another, like, review. I mean, we did one movie review, and that was, Guardians of the Galaxy 3. Luckily, it came on Disney Plus, so the Khaiza got the chance to, like, watch it, and yeah, my thoughts on, like, Guardians of the Galaxy was really good, but now's not the time for, Marvel Cinematic Universe material. We have Marvel adjacent via Sony, and this is like one of the most highly anticipated Marvel not MCU movies to date, and that's Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse Part 1, right? This has like been in development since 5 years, right? Originally it was going to be like planned in 2022, yeah, like last year, but then of course, you know, changes, right, with the staffing and whatnot, like we couldn't like do it in like that specific like time frame. So Spider-Man came out in 2023 of our year of Lord and Savior of Evo 2020. Well, no. I don't think it came in Evo time. I think it came at around, oh no, it was June. Yeah. It was June because June was also the day for Street Fighter 6 launch day, right? And of course, you know, the Khaiza was not able to watch Spider-Man on day one because first of all, it was Street Fighter, so I had to take priority in Street Fighter first, then Spider-Man. I mean, of course, it's Street Fighter. What do you want? And secondly, it was my grandma was, you know, in the hospital, right? During her like, you know, final like hours. Well, not like her final hours. Her final hours was like June 30th, but like she was staying at the hospital like at that time until June 30th. So couldn't really like, you know, do much, at least like in terms of like movies, because family was like a super like big thing, you know. So luckily I got the chance to watch it last night via my friend, my best homie, IGN2 Real. Like, Prawn, have you not seen he was like, Prawn, have you not seen Spider-Man Miles Morales yet? I was like, no, because I didn't get the chance to. So he had the movie up in the best quality, right? As you know, streaming quality can be for like Discord. I watched it and goddamn, what a fun ass fucking ride. I was telling mom that this movie is automatically a 9 out of 10, right? Just like straight up, right? Those like 5 years between Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse and Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse were really like important for the development of this movie. Like, just like goddamn, like the guys at Sony Pictures Animations have definitely leveled themselves up from like their humble beginnings in, I think it's still Sony Pictures Animations, right? Let me see, Across the Spider-Verse, is it still Sony Pictures, right? Sony Pictures Entertainment Motion Picture Group, right? Yeah, Sony Pictures Animation. Columbia Pictures, yeah, that's what they did. They did Open Season? Damn. Open Season, Surf's Up, Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs. Wait, didn't they do Despicable Me? Or maybe that was like something else. Okay, so they did the Hotel Transylvania series, Open Season, yeah, like some like humble beginnings, and now they just like, you know, perfected their craft as, you know, Spider-Man just being like this like animation fucking like powerhouse sort of thing, you know? Like it's super fucking sick, right? The level of like depth like each scene like takes, like this was, I mean, this is not like an easy project, right? It's not an easy project to like make this much of like, you know, animation caliber with like how things like move and like almost like, you know, 10 frames like per second and still get like the most accolades it can get for an animation piece, right? Although like saying that like right now in like my head, I don't think it will like hold up for, you know, actual, you know, quote unquote pedigree movies like, you know, movie events like, you know, the Golden Globes, the Oscars, the Emmys, right? Because, you know, they're very like, you know, old tradition timed. Like they just want like movies to be like, you know, just movies. No animations, no I just want the purest of film. I want like drama on the set piece, right? I know for a fact that like what was it, Chris Nolan's latest film Oppenheimer is going to get so much accolades because of legacy cast. It's got that Chris Nolan pedigree, so there's going to be some superb acting across the globe and themes, you know, explored in Oppenheimer. I mean, it's a historical piece, but you know, still it's got those gimmies, right? And animations like Spider-Man is not gonna like really like, you know, be on par, right, with like movies from across like the globe. Like that's like the sad truth of it. It's like this stupid like stigma that a lot of movie events have towards, you know, like anime films, animation, right? They just don't, you know, come out like on top, which is very unfortunate because, you know, voice actors and animators, storyboard artists are, you know, especially now after, you know, the SAG-AFTRA strikes, right? Those like job level positions are super fucking important, and it's not just like actors. It's everything related to like in the movie / entertainment industry. It's like, oh, why don't you just go make like the next movie? It's like, motherfucker. People like will ask that. It's like, why don't you make like the next movie or something like that? I just want my film. It's like it doesn't take not a lot of effort. Like, yo man, shut the fuck up, is what I meant. What I will say. But Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse is like, you know, it's like the purest like definition of like peak, you know? And I'm not gonna like, you know, right, sing praises like, you know, so much for like Spider-Man, because, you know, Spider-Man like is great, but I will say like it has its like faults, right? Hence the reason why I give it like a 9 out of 10, because there are like some like parts that, I mean, I was like confused at first, but then, you know, of course with clarification from homies, I got a little bit more insight. But some parts about like the movie is like kind of like interesting and strange, right? I guess like for, you know how we called like Spider-Man No Way Home being like the best like Spider-Man like there is, because of the thematics of multiverse, so you can bring in like people from like previous Spider-Man films. So you can have like Alfred Molina Doc Ock, you can have William Dafoe Goblin, right? It's crazy. And that was like the best like Spider-Man film at the time. But now we got Spider-Verse being like, you know, just, you know, pushing aside No Way Home. It's like, all right, step down, kid, I got you. And this is just Spider-Man nostalgia fiesta, the movie, right? You know, like for the most part, right? Because, you know, this is like Spider-Man like as a character, right? You know, the OG like of stories, right? Peter Parker, little little nerd kid in Queens, New York, right? And gets bit by the radioactive spider and watches his uncle die and becomes the Spider-Man, a night and day, 24-hour shift superhero. And ever since then, he's been joined in several like affiliations, right? Avengers, commonly, one of them via like the MCU. Fantastic Four, New Avengers, right? And then we have like Spider-Man adjacent characters that take up the mantle via, as per like the topic, Miles Morales. There have been like new ones like Gwen Stacy and Silk. I think Silk was like older, but there's so many like different spider homies like out there, right? The popularity for Spider-Man has still been like continuing on ever since when we were like kids growing up in the 90s and shit like that, Spider-Man has still continued to draw in like fans, both old and new, right? He's just like this kid that's, just like, me for real, right? He's just this little like geek boy that doesn't really have any suave or like muscle or like, some of the other shit that a lot of heroes like going on, like Superman or Batman or Iron Man or shit like that, but just bit by a spider by chance, and now he's the most popular Spider-Man because, he's knowledgeable, he's quirky, he's fun, right? He's like every kid's like dream to be like Spider-Man, I mean, of course, not every kid. I mean, some kids will have different dreams than like others, but you know what I mean, right? But yeah, like Spider-Man like is a 9 out of 10. The soundtrack is good, just like in the first film, right? Very like, unique level of OST and soundtrack that we've not heard of in a superhero movie, right? Always, I mean, like the closest one I think of would be like, Dark Knight, because it sets itself up as like, a thriller like drama, right? There's like, the stingers with the jump scares for like Joker and shit like that. It's got like that acoustics that really like make Dark Knight, the Dark Knight sort of thing, right? But it was really cool to watch Les Spooder Man, right? Characters were enjoyable. We still get Miles, we still get Gwen, we even got like Peter Benjamin Parker from the other like universe, and now he's like a dad. Now he's a dad. Well, spoilers, but he's a dad and has like a kid named Mayday or May Parker in honor of his aunt. But yeah, like this Spider-Man movie was like so much like fun just to like, watch and see, right? Yeah, and there was just like, so many like references, right? There was like I'll still say maybe like one more spoiler before like I'll go to like full spoiler mode and talk about like the plot, because again, this movie is all about the different Easter eggs that you see in Spider-Man, and one of those like Easter eggs was like Spider-Man chilling in his dormitory. What was it? It's like high-tech like school. I forgot like the name is, and has Genki as like roommate, but in their like bedroom, in their dorm room, they have like a little like TV where they like play games and like watch movies and stuff. They were actually playing Spider-Man, Marvel's Insomniac Spider-Man. It's like, god damn it, that shit made me giddy. If it were to like get me giddy, they would have been playing, Marvel vs. Capcom. But of course, Sony ain't gonna allow that because they're not associated. Well, they wanted Marvel, but they're they want like Spider-Man, but Marvel wants Spider-Man, but Sony wants Spider-Man, sort of shit like that, sort of like this like deal breaker compromise. And so they have to play just like only Spider-Man only games, right? So they were just like playing Spider-Man 4, or Genki was playing Spider-Man 4, but I wish it was I wish it was like a fighting game of some kind. Yo, play like Nico. Alright, what's up, James? But yeah, like that little Easter egg of, what was it? When Genki was like playing like a video game on like his like dormitory, he was playing like Spider-Man PS4. I wish it was Marvel vs. Capcom 2 or 3, right? I wish it was like a fighting game that's like, yo man, I know Marvel be doing like all these cool cinematic like story mode bullshits, but man, I just want like my fighting game, bro. Fuck. But anyway, let's go into like the spoilers of Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, like the movie that the Khaiza has saw last night, right? So what happens in Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, right? Well, originally it was going to be like just like a whole movie, but then production changed like maybe like midway, and Spider-Man became like a part 1, right? So this will be like Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse part 1, and there's going to be like a part 2 later on. But that slate for that movie is going to be, you know, scheduled indefinitely. Or what was it? It's still in like production. Still in like production because, you know, reasons, right? So this is like Across the Spider-Verse, and the next movie after this one is going to be Beyond the Spider-Verse, right? And so what happens in Across the Spider-Verse here in this movie shows off like an intro with Gwen Stacy, everybody's favorite girl, every Spider Girl, favorite Spider Girl. Shows off like her backstory as like a spider heroine. You know, born under Captain Stacy, George Stacy, right? Police chief. Gets bit by a radioactive spider. She's part of like a rock band. Has a best friend named Peter Parker, but then turns into the lizard, and they scuffle, and Peter Parker of her universe dies. And one day she was battling the Vulture, and the iconic meme warrior on like Twitter, Miguel O'Hara, right? The Spider-Man of 2099. Comes in and throws down with Vulture, as well as Jessica Drew, or Spider-Woman, which is interesting, right? This is an interesting, like, positive take, because Jessica Drew has always been like, you know, a white woman, long black hair, skinny, right? Very stereotypical, like, Marvel heroine, super sexy, super skin tight suit, she's pretty. But then they change her up in this movie in that she's now, like, Afro-American. She's got, like, a big-ass, like, afro, she's, like, pregnant. She rides around, like, in a motorcycle, which is also, like, badass, you know? That's super awesome. But anyway, Jessica Drew, she is the wife of Miguel O'Hara. Yeah, I think so. I think they never, like, no, I think they might have, like, said it, but I might have, like, tuned out on that. But, yeah, like, Jessica, Spider-Woman, enlists, Gwen Stacy to be part of like the Spider like squad under Miguel O'Hara, and then the movie transitions to intro to like Miles. He's been like Brooklyn's one and only Spider-Man for like I think like 6 months or like 2 years or something like that. Excuse me. Yeah, just you know, struggling to be like a Spider-Man, trying to keep his identity safe from his mom and his father, Rio Morales and Jefferson Davis, struggling hero life with normal life. Gets into a throwdown with, you know, his nemesis, the Spot, which is comical character at start, but oh my god, that fucking glow up that he has, it's so fucking terrifying. He becomes like an omnipotent god. And so, yeah, Miles Morales just struggling being like a Spider-Man, gets into a lot of like family trouble with mom and dad, and at like a party they have like a big like scuffle, and reunites with Gwen Stacy, which is, you know, like yeah, like Miles and like Gwen are like, you know, an OTP, like a one true like pair sort of shit, which is, you know, hilarious, right? And of course, right, Gwen Stacy is like on a job as part of like the what was it, the Spider Society, right, where they get like a job to go through like different dimensions to do shit. And so Miles like hangs around with Gwen and sees like, you know, what she is like doing, and tries to figure out, you know, what the hell like the Spot is doing. And so so the Spot, like, part of like, you know, what was it, the plot device in Spider-Verse like 1, which is like what, the Hadron Collider, where like Kingpin's like goal was to like open up another like universe to see his wife and son, but then like it fucked up in his favor, in his untimely demise. So Miles, oh god, I'm like drawing blanks here, I'm like fucking tapping out. So Miles like hangs around with Gwen, detects a signal of like the Spot, and goes to another universe, right? The first universe that we see like of Spider-Man is, what was it? Every like Spider-Man is in like in a New York setting. That's like the like OGest of locales for like the hero. I mean, of course, you know, most like Marvel heroes take place in New York. Some are like, you know, in New Jersey, but most of the time it's like New York, the Big Apple. That's what they really are about. But Spider Miles and Gwen go to another universe called New Mumbai, which is really New York mixed with India, or Mumbai, the capital of India. And goddamn, was it a fun treat just to see like an Indian like Spider-Man. It's like, no, we were talking about that's me for real, yo, that's a Spider-Man for me for real. And of course, that's where like, you know, the meme of like, you know, chai tea comes from. You said like tea, because, you know, that's like an inside joke where like Indians call like tea as chai. It's just another like language for it. So it's like, god damn it. But yeah, like Spider-Man is like such like a good film to like offer up multiple different like spider people, right? I mean, the only like before like Miles and like Gwen and all of like the other like new spider people, there were like others before. Miguel O'Hara was still there. There was Ben Reilly, which is like a clone of Spider-Man. The Scarlet Spider. There were like the like Man Spider, that was one of them, which is like a genetic mutation of Peter Parker. There were like so many like different like spider people back then, before like the new age kids, you know? But anyway, they go to like Mumbai and track down like the Spot, because Spot is looking for Hadron Collider to throw down with Spider-Man, to respect him that like he's a nemesis or like a villain. Like he's getting into like his like villain arc. And so he does that, absorb enough material from the Hadron Collider, and almost like I said, becomes like an omnipotent god, and starts creating like multi-dimensional like fractures. And so the trio, well, now like our quad helps out because there's another Spider-Man that comes out to help out, and that's Hobby Brown, or Spider-Punk, and that's voiced by the guy from Get Out, Daniel I don't know how to pronounce his last name, forgive me, but he was the dude in Get Out, Nope, Black Panther, the first one. He's a very good actor, right? Mind you. Did not realize he was natively London. That's crazy, cause he looks. That's crazy, cause he sounds like so American from movies like before. But in here, it's just like, I think it's just like, you know, that's kind of like the same with like, you know, Henry Cavill or Andrew Garfield. Both are natively British, but they got like killer like English accents, you know, sort of thing. So that was really sick. So they tried to stop Spot, but ultimately like failed, and Mumbattan was almost about to be like crashing down, and Spider-Man Miles tries to like save everybody, right? And he ultimately does, until like Jessica Drew like comes in and enlists the spider people outside of Peter Parker to the Spider Society base, where they get introduced to a whole different races of Spider-Man, right? Spider-Man from the game, from other animation works, from movies to an extent. Yeah, movies to an extent, because they can't like actually have like the characters like a live action in an animation piece. But yeah, like this was, like I said, this was just nothing but Spider-Man nostalgia. Like if you grew up watching like the shows, the cartoons, stuff like that, or like the movies per se, then you're gonna feel right at home in this Spider-Man movie, right? But the whole like gang gets introduced, and they get summoned by the leader of the Spider Society, Miguel O'Hara, and he's been like the ringleader of the Spider Society ever since like the beginning of this movie, right? Or maybe even like before that, right? Because he was in like in a end credits like teaser in the first film. But Miguel O'Hara, just this brooding, hulking machine of a Spider-Man, right? He explains the universe structure specifically for spider people like Miles, like Gwen, like Peter Benjamin Parker, right? Spider people are blessed but also cursed, which is really funny, because that's why I see this a lot on like Twitter, the quote-unquote canon events, right? And this was briefly described by Miguel, and it's that, yeah, like the canon events are essentially fixed points in time of a Spider-Man's life that, you know, you can't change them. It's kind of like, what was it, the Flashpoint paradox effect, right? You know, if Barry goes back in time to save his mom, Nora Allen, from the Reverse Flash's like murderous tendencies, then his future will be like fucked up. A lot of things will be changed, and things will not be like the same, hence the Flashpoint paradox. But in here, right, the paradoxes, or like the canon events are, you know, someone close to the Spider-Man, you know, dying, right? And we get to see, oh, I should talk about, you know, the nostalgia, right? Like, there were a lot of different like nods, right? we were just talking about like live action, but we got fucking an alt like Aaron Davis universe counterpart, like a variant, and it was Donald Glover. It was Donald Glover who was like, you know, Aaron Davis in the live action films, but he makes his way in here as like the Prowler, so like you know, like it has some like Then we got like scenes from like, you know, the live action films like the Andrew Garfield Spider-Mans. And we got like still shots of, you know, the Sam Raimi ones. I don't know if they showed like the Tom Holland ones. I don't remember if they did. But anyway, Miguel O'Hara talks about like a canon event as, you know, a non-disruptor, right? And so, like that fixed point in time shouldn't be messed around with at all, right? No matter who or what it may be, that's what defines a Spider-Man. That's like the Martha and Thomas Wayne to the Batman sort of thing, you know? And so Miles unconsciously prevented Peter Parker's Spider-Man canon event from happening because his love interest's dad was supposed to have died in that like destruction when Spot got that Hadron Collider and bounced the fuck out and caused so much destruction in Wombat. But Miles saved him. So Miguel views Miles as a hindrance, as a causality, and so he hunts him down and tries to like send him back home, right? And truths were like revealed about Miles is that the spider that like bit him was supposed to be bit by a different Peter Parker, not Miles. Because that's the canon event, is that, you know, a spider has to bite Peter Parker in order to become Spider-Man. No ifs, ands, or buts. But that spider was from a different universe, right? So things get really fucking crazy like in the ending. But, you know, the spider chase happens, right? Miguel hunts down Miles to like his best until Miles gets away, which, you know, it's really funny that like, you know, Miles has like is surrounded by all these like spider people with the typical Spider-Man powers, right? Enhanced strength, danger perception, right? Outside of, you know, close friends or family that he views as a positive light. You know, enhanced strength, web creation, right? But they can't seem to figure out, right? Like, Miles is that one dude that has invisibility, that has shock powers, that like is like the natural deterrent to all of like the Spider-Man around like the Spider Society, right? He is that dude that just is, you know, that one electron in a field of like protons sort of thing, if that like makes sense. But Miguel like chases him down. You know, Miles gets away, uses like a spider transporter to like send him back home. And this is where I said like the spider that bit him was different because it was from a different universe, a different Earth, right? The Earth that he knew where his uncle died, Aaron Davis, right? That was like his Earth, but the spider that bit him was from a different like Earth. And so when he was transported to that Earth, his mom is alive, but his father died, Jefferson Davis, and Aaron Davis is alive, and Miles of that Earth meets his Earth 46 counterpart, and Miles is the Prowler. And, you know, and there's also like the side plot that Miguel's... Oh, nice. Ad break. Thank you. Damn, ad break already? Jeez. Oh my lord. There was also like the side plot that Spider-Gwen starts to feel like doubts of being in like the Spider Society because she views Miles as like her true friend. And this is where I'll say like the this is where I say like, you know, Spider-Verse is like such a fantastic fucking film because it has a very good usage of colors, right? And I think it was like my friend IGN2Real pointed out to me that like, so you see Farhan, like the colors in Spider-Gwen's like universe show that like, you know, she's blue to signify that like she's depressed, but she wants to come back like to her dad, where like her dad's like aura of color is all this like splashy, like, you know, the hues of like orange and like pinkish, you know, sort of thing, a mix of like both colors that like it's a ray of sunshine, like happiness. But then Spider-Gwen doesn't want to like come back there. And then like the colors, you know, change for Gwen's like story, right? When she like goes back like to her Earth, is that she finally comes out to like her father and starts to, you know, be like a better hero than what she thought she was. And so what was it? The Spider-Gwen gets like fired from the Spider Society because Miguel views her as a liability, sends her back. But, you know, being like, you know, Spider-Gwen the way she is, she forms a new squad of a Spider Society along with Hobby and Peter Benjamin Parker. There's Spider-Ham. Spider-Ham's back. Penny Parker. Spider Noir, right? And they try to like save Miles from the other like Earth. Earth 46, right? So that was and then like the movie ends with like a to be continued. I tried to like be like as fast as I can, right? So like this movie, like I rated as like a 9 out of 10, you know, because it's only like 1 point short, but then like that 1 point leads to like, you know, several like different points, because of several like character archetypes that were like shown off, right? Like ranging from like Miguel to the Spot to like questions about like the ending and like what could like happen. It's a very like Avengers from Infinity War to Endgame, right? Or like from whatever happened at like Endgame, what's gonna happen to the universe? Or oh no, it's Infinity War to Endgame, right? Yeah, that's what it is, right? Because, you know, it ends on a cliffhanger, so a lot of like questions and possibilities are like what's gonna happen in the next film, right? Yeah, because like Miles sees his other like counterpart as the Prowler, and you see him trying to like escape, like trying to create fiction with like, you know, the electrocution like shit. But what's gonna happen with like the character dynamics, right? You know, how is that like really gonna like play out, and like what's gonna happen to like Spot, you know, that became like this like multiversal like dimensionally traveling god sort of character, right? Like he did it just, you know, to be as equal as Spider-Man, but he's taken on so much that, you know, he may actually, you know, want to like be saved sort of thing. And of course like Miguel, right, O'Hara, right, is that he tried to like prevent a canon event, right? He tried to mess around with a canon event because, you know, everybody's like human, so he wanted to like be part of like a family of like something more, but then ultimately like he didn't because of the canon event, and he watched his whole like universe die, and he has like an adopted daughter, and that adopted daughter was like went up to like smoke, but it's crazy. It's fucking wild. But even then, like, I think like maybe like the one point was like those things, and of course, you know, the canon events, right? Because when you really think about like the canon events about, you know, the Spider-Man and how it plays with like, you know, Miles, because we technically saw his canon event in Spider-Man in Spider-Verse 1 with, you know, his uncle dying in his like universe. However, right, that was, as I said, you know, the spider that bit him was from like a different universe. It was supposed to bite a different like Peter Parker, but then like, was that not really like his canon event at all? His canon event was like his father dying in front of him, and the Spot like laughs in jubilation, sort of thing, right? Because like, you know, what would like Miles is like, I guess like canon events maybe like, you know, multiple. It's never really like just one. Like the one is, you know, bit by the spider. Second is watch a loved one die in front of you. So I think those are like the only like two canon events, sort of thing. Watch someone like die in front of you. So 2 canon events per like Spider-Man, and that's how they become a Spider-Man, right? You know, that I think about it, for like the Spider Society is they're kind of like the TVA in Loki, right? They're here to like, you know, prevent disruptions in the timeline and let things like sail out and be smooth. But of course, Lokis want to like change that, right? That's what Lokis do. They are the gods of mischief, which I can't wait for season 2, right? But I guess like the canon events was like, you know, it's like a very generalized like term, so it could mean like anything. There could be like more than one like canon event, right? Sort of thing. And of course, right, it is a to be continued, right, type of like movie, so we have to wait for some time to see like a sequel of Spider-Verse, which is going to be Beyond the Spider-Verse, right? So yeah, like that's the thing is, right, now that Hollywood is going through like the SAG-AFTRA strikes, right, with Hollywood, and a lot of people in the entertainment industry that has jobs like, you know, screenwriters, production artists, storyboard artists, right? A lot of those jobs are depending on like, when is this like situation going to be like, you know, scoped out, right? And I mean, well, Spider-Man's case, it was postponed indefinitely because, you know, that was like before the SAG-AFTRA strikes. But even then, right, it's gonna be like, you know, 5 years again, like at best, maybe even more, until we see Beyond the Spider-Verse. It's gonna be like a long time before we get something like Spider-Verse like 2. And, you know, honestly, I want the team at Sony Pictures Animations to take their time with that, right? I mean, of course, you know, I respect, like, you know, the actor, the voice actors, and all the people behind Spider-Verse. They've done an amazing job with this movie. Without them, we wouldn't have Spider-Verse, right? So those people are very, very, very important, and that's why you should like support your actors in like striking and peaceful like protests that like, you know, help stop like the SAG-AFTRA, you know, have like unequal rights to the people in the entertainment industry, as well as, you know, prevent using like AI distribution in the entertainment industry. Because that's like one of the key like topics in these like strikes is that, you know, one, AI is a dominant force in almost like everyday life. We have it in schools and other junk, but we also have it in movies, right? CG, like AI animation for like Marvel, like cinematics stuff, sort of thing. And also, right, equal rights and equal wages, right? You know, ever since like the Bayonetta thing, right, in Bayonetta 3, right, with Helena Taylor, you know, disgustingly said like the equal wages and like the, what was it? What's that one word? Residuals, right? The residuals are like less than what they like offered for their time and effort in their like work. People have become super aware of like, you know, how companies treat like VAs, and they just want to like, you know, diminish their efforts by giving them lower wages and no residuals for their work, right? So the SAG-AFTRA strikes are very important to like the entertainment business. Of course, it also helps to shape up like how entertainment lately has been like, you know, doing. Of course, with like MCU is starting to like lack a bit, sort of thing. Oh, excuse me. Ah, man. Yeah, but they gotta like do something, you know. I mean, with oh yeah, that was it. With MCU, yeah, with MCU stuff, it's like they're kind of like lacking with some of like their material. Some movies are good with like Phase 4, Phase 5. Some half really like aren't. Right? It's like after like Infinity Stone, which is like their Infinity Stone saga, which was their like magnum opus, right? We still have yet to see, you know, the best of their like caliber from Marvel Cinematic Universe, the MCU. I guess like a lot of people are just waiting on X-Men, Fantastic Four, Doctor Doom, right? Nope. It feels like those characters are what really brings back Marvel fans back. Hence, right, a lot of people are going to be waiting for Deadpool. Deadpool 3 is going to be a bomb fucking film, like in a good way, not in a bad way, because you know Wolverine is going to be there, Deadpool, and you know how Deadpool is going to be. He's the funniest fucking mercenary on like 2 legs. So worry about like the state of like Marvel, but either way, like Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse is like a 9 out of 10, right? You should definitely go see it if you haven't had the chance. It's not available on Netflix or Disney Plus, unfortunately. You would have to like buy/rent it on like Amazon or other like streaming devices. So it's unfortunate that it's not free, but like if you are willing to buy it, if you are a Spider-Man fan, you know, go watch this movie. Like, it's fucking fire. It's fuego. It's really, really sick. There's a reason why a lot of like TikToks use like sounds like from the movie is because of this movie, right? Alright. But I think that should be it, right? For the Spider-Man review.